Hello and welcome to another Agridata Inc. tutorial video. In this video we will be learning how to color code and label certain areas of the map within the Surety Pro system. We're going to be doing this by using a form called the alternate boundary, and what it'll do is it'll create a custom layer that we can use to define different attributes in order to color by and label. First, to start, we always need to have a client selected in order to save anything underneath it. Once we have that done, we can click on our favorites link over on the right hand panel in order to activate our alternate boundary layer. Click on the general option to expand it and then select the alternate boundary from the list and click save. This will add the alternate boundary into our list. We can either use it by selecting FSA boundaries or using the drawing tools in order to define our custom boundaries. For this example, I'm going to use the select tool. I'm going to select a cropland area to be able to color it and label it the way I want to. So I'll just put my selection X in this FSA boundary. I'm going to do one at a time in order to get the correct acres within my boundary. So I'll select that and go over and click on the alternate boundary link. This will bring up a simple form and it'll have a certain amount of things already filled out for us. What we're going to be interested in this case is the label and the color options. Whatever we put in for the label will appear as a label on the boundary itself. The color is where we define what we want the color of the boundary to be. So for this one, I'm going to just type in cropland. And right now, by default, I don't have anything in my colors list. So I'm going to click on the pencil icon in order to bring this grid view open and add a color to my list. So I'm going to add a few colors here. You can add whatever colors you want. And you can always add more at any time. So we'll go ahead and close this if I'm finished. And now I'll be able to select that color from this drop down. So for cropland, I want to color it, let's say orange. Go ahead and save this. The boundary that appeared is not yet orange. This is because the default coloring for this layer is this blue outline with a green fill. It does have cropland labeled as well as my acres, but we can also modify the look and placement of that label. I'm going to define a couple more areas here quick in order to set up a coloring scheme. So I'm going to select this body of water here, my alternate boundary. Type in water, and I'm going to set this one as blue and save. And again, since we don't have our color set, you can see that it is just going to apply the default coloring every time here until we change that. So now, since I have two set up, I'm going to go in and click on my layers button. And we're going to find the alternate boundary option, which should now be checked and in your layers. Click on the link itself and switch to the symbology tab. The one we're going to be paying attention to right now is this or color by option. If we click the down arrow, we can click on color because we want to color it by the attribute color that we set up in the form itself. And then once we have that set, a little pencil icon will appear allowing us to set our colors. So if we click on that, we can see that we can set up a different color scheme for the colors that we added. So we're just going to match the colors by clicking on the box and clicking on the appropriate color for each. Once we have that, we can get a little bit more advanced with the advanced link and to be able to adjust the outline color and the width of that outline, and if you want any hatching and colors for that. For now, I'm going to just stick with my basic colors, close this, and I'm going to click update to see what it looks like. Alright, so now we can see that it is coloring by the appropriate colors now that we set. Our labels disappeared, but we can change that as well. We also have these pins that we can add, or enable or disable. So this show pins, if I remove the check from that, and update. It'll get rid of the pins. Go over to my labels tab now, and we can do some kind of generic positioning of the label if we want. I'm going to leave it as is, and I'm going to set the priority, however, to 10. This should ensure us that the labels will appear. I'm also going to increase my size a little bit of my label. And we can see down here in the labels list that is labeling by the map label attribute and the actual acres attributes. So we have the map label, which is the top line, and the actual acres, which is the second line. Go ahead and save. So now that our layer is set up with its own properties, we can come in here and we can kind of quickly go through and define different areas. So if I go and I select this, go ahead and click on my alternate boundary form. I can say this is wooded, and I can define the color as green. Save. Once I do this, it will automatically look at the property of green and color by that now. So if I define this one, so I can see I define this one as orange, but that's going to cause an issue because my cropland is already orange. I can modify this by selecting it, clicking on alternate boundary again, going to edit the alternate boundary, and then pick a different color. If you wanted to delete one entirely, you would do the same thing. Click on it, the select tool, hit alternate boundary, edit it, and we can use the delete button. The draw/edit button will allow us to change the actual boundary itself. If I zoom back in here, if I want it to be a little bit different than what the FSA boundary gives me, I can do that and then hit apply changes, and it'll update all the appropriate information. Did it to the new one now. This coloring will be brought into different maps that you create, such as our FSA map. So if we wanted to calculate the entire acres, we can do that still, while still retaining our coloring. So I'm going to draw it out with the draw field, and then I'll just simply go to my FSA map now. And we can see the different areas that are colored still, as well as a total acres. If you have more questions, please contact us. You can find our information under the help and about. Otherwise, go to help how-to videos for more videos, or support for our support site. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our Agridata Inc. YouTube channel to get the latest updates on your favorite mapping program.